2021 was one year Nigeria faced an unprecedented wave of different but overlapping security crises, from the extremist insurgencies in the northeast to banditry, kidnapping and wanton killings in the northwest, kidnappings and cult clashes in the southwest to separatist activities and violence in the southeast. Almost every corner of the country was hit by violence and crime. Today, insecurity remains Nigeria's biggest problem, as many of the security issues highlighted still persists, especially in the north, where crime is fast becoming the order of the day. President Muhammadu Buhari expressed optimism in his New Year message that Nigeria will overcome the insecurity, but the question on the lips of many Nigerians is how the government plans to achieve this feat. This is the big question on the lips of so many Nigerians and in the minds of Nigerians as well. So joining me now for more is the National PRO Association of Licensed Private Security Practitioners of Nigeria, Roy Ohidieve. Roy, it's good to have you join me, and Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Great.
We're here now. So at times like this, we look into the new year. It's like there's a window and you stand to look into the new year and then see how the new year is going to look like. But we always hope for the best anyway.
Yeah.
Now, like I introduced earlier, 2021 was a year that a lot of Nigerians had a heartbreak from, insecurity issues. Either they lost relatives, friends, family members, loved ones, colleagues, and a lot of different things that could have been avoided. But in 2022, the president on his New Year message had assured Nigerians that something is going to be done decisively this time around. And that is what we hope. The word of the president is always the word anybody can take to the bank and say, okay, the president said this, so we should have confidence in it. So, sitting from a professional perspective as a security expert, what are the things we should be doing beginning today is the 4th, as we start the year now? What should we be doing as a nation? What should we be doing as individuals? Can you give us an overview first before we begin to delve into the specifics?
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for seeing 2022, But I'm sad. It's so sad when I listen to all the end of the year tributes, end of the year statements, presentations, all parastatals, government agencies, the presidency. The only one that I loved was the one from the Auditor General. That was trying to ascribe how we got to identify missing weapons of that number, and why they were not accounted for, and why certain companies were bidding for contracts with names that, relates to one person and all that. I read that report and I said, if the judiciary should pick this report and start to ask questions. I saw the report from the president saying we are going to do something different. What were you doing before? And what you did before? What made it fail if you want to do something different? And who are those culpable for the failure? Because as a president, you're supposed to have people assigned to responsibilities. So what machinery is in place to ask those people logical questions and to see that penalties are accruing and it serves as a deterrence. Those are closures for a year before you begin to, everybody runs businesses, I run my own business, and I'm telling my staff, oh, this is a closure for this year. I'm not going to accept this next year. So and so persons need to go, so and so persons need to move into different departments, but I can't just come and say, well, 2021 was this and we're going to do something different. Then you also look at the body language of the agencies. They are still reactive. I have not seen any statutory changes. I have not seen any institutional attempts to redirect professionalism into our agencies. We just hear that something is broken somewhere, everybody runs there. Who broke it? This guy, and everybody starts shooting. And we don't do any investigations. We don't do any kind of structural adjustments to serve as closures, deterrence. We don't have lines of defense activated. You know, all of those things are supposed to be in our structure, but they're dilapidated. So closure to this year, from September, October, we're supposed to have been seeing some 3 months quarterly actions to say in 2022 these things are going live. So what are the things that are going live? What are the things that we are going to do different? So I feel somehow not so happy and pleased with the opening for 2022. And I think in our subsequent discussions, maybe we'll look at that.
Yeah. All right. Let's start with the issue of ungoverned spaces that a lot of people have mentioned here and there. Now, with the bandits operating in the parts of the northwest, and a lot of people have said that it's because in so many places you don't have the presence of government. So if you don't have the presence of government, there's no presence of security agencies. So the people who live there live on their own. And then we've had reports where bandits meet the villagers and tell them, okay, it's harvest time. You guys have to pay so amount of money before you are able to harvest. We've heard so in instances where residents are told to pay taxes, and stuff like that. And because we hear there are lots of ungoverned spaces. How do we close up some of these ungoverned spaces? Because Nigeria is not the largest country in the world. If other countries are able to man areas where you don't have government police posts, or you don't have police posts, you don't have the government secretariat necessarily, but then they know their terrain and they know how to cover everywhere. What do we begin to do about that?
Well, you know, we spoke about this in some sessions, and you know, okay, now when you say an ungoverned space, it means where there are no government institutions existence. Now, what government? You see, we have lost control of our territorial integrity. We have lost it. We have lost this advantage to build trust in Nigerians that are in some spaces, to say, I am a Nigerian. You can't talk to me like that. I am a Nigerian. I know what we do. This is not Nigeria. You know, so the loss of trust on Nigerians, patriotism, when patriotism started to die, we were already buying black clothes to bury it. We didn't know that when you lose patriotism, you lose the substance of cohesion. And communities right now are made up of different components of responsibilities. If you go to some areas, it says it's a ungoverned space. It's a governed space. It depends on which government. Okay. Is it Nigerian government? Because the truth is, those farmers pay tax. Now they pay tax to the Nigerian government. They pay tax to the rebel and the bandits. They pay tax to whatever. And these things did not start in these times of banditry and terrorism. It has been existing in Nigeria. Come to your area, wherever you live, you want to put a generator there. You have paid for the generator. You have been taxed for the payment of the generator. You pay taxes that pay salaries of policemen, military men. You are bringing your generator to your area, and certain persons gather around it and say, find us something, or you cannot institute that generator. Now, who is supposed to have deterred that? We left it. Instead, our political terrorism that we were practicing got to the stage where we left this catchment of people in the north, in the south, in the east, everywhere, as our thugs. We started to use them as political thugs. And these political thugs, at a point, we started to arm them. And when we started to arm them, when it is not time for politics, they have to continue their drugs, they have to continue their lawlessness. So sometimes they find any space to just go and remain. So the police knows that certain persons are there but they are loyal to XYZ person. Some bandits were captured. They said people came to the bush to give us weapons and uniform on live TV. The guy is not dead, he's not shot. He stood and was talking. Okay, so some of these lawless groups of people, let's use lawless, because if we have laws, they refuse to follow our laws. So they moved into spaces where they can control superiority. And they exist there because everybody in power in Nigeria today was put in by someone. If we agree that democracy have not been by the people and for the people. So those people knows that we practice political terrorism in Nigeria, violence terrorism. In the last election, you saw news people were running away now. Some were stabbed. Guys were shooting guns at political rallies, you know, and they were not arrested. If they were paraded the next day, what's the follow-up? Are they in court? Are they in detention? Are they in prison? You know, now we have these lawless spaces. We have these lawless persons staying in lawless spaces, controlling Nigerians. Because anybody in the territorial space is a Nigerian. Controlling Nigerians, paying taxes to government and paying taxes to these persons, and they can take up their arms at any time and increase mayhem. So when they are broke or anything, they come out and they do kidnap and all that. They intimidate the police. The DPO in that small area that you see is not greater than those guys. Sometimes they go to the police station and they walk away with people that were arrested. They go and bail them by any kind of intimidation, you know. And phone calls continue from high and mighty persons to intimidate agencies not to actually carry out their jobs. Meanwhile, if in a same climb, if I call an agency personnel trying to intimidate him, I should be arrested. And he will be justified and vindicated. But that's not so in Nigeria. So we have these places we call lawless area, unpoliced areas, and we don't know that the government of Nigeria is supposed to run Nigeria like a business entity. A business entity that all its values supposed to produce results. So those areas you call lawless areas, some of them carry mines of precious stones, and they are controlled by bandits. We have seen cases where foreigners were arrested that they are mining precious stones in a territorial country that has integrity. Now, these persons that were arrested, the bandits still control those areas, and we still know that these things exist. Now, if you say that is an unpoliced area, even the precious stone there alone, is it not enough for the government to say this is our business? This should produce revenue for the country. We don't want to borrow anymore. So all your spaces where there are businesses, the fishermen, Nigeria and Niger and all those areas, there is large volume of business for fishes, dried fish and export and all that going on there. You know, then the headers business. It's a business. You know, the farmers for kola nuts, for cocoa, for all these things that we used to export. These are businesses. So if we leave those spaces and say they are ungoverned spaces, we know that our boys are there collecting taxes. We know.
Wow. As we are right now, because as you're reeling them out, is drawing closer home some of the points and so on. Now, this takes us to the issue of government or security agencies and civilians. That relationship where you know that, okay, all of us, like some security analysts have said, even if we stretch all the Nigerian military, police and all of that put together, we cannot still cover the entire space. But how do we work smart in such a way that we may not be in this enclave, but there's someone there who can give us information. There's someone there who can let us know whatever is going on and so on. So that if we know that something is happening that is untoward, we can move in to prevent and ensure that, you know, and stuff like that. When it comes to that collaboration, how much of that should we be seeing in the new year?
Well, you know, we have been telling communities to be resilient. we say, okay, because someone came and said, take up arms, and he was arrested. Somebody say, go and buy guns, he's arrested. So a friend of mine who is also in the security industry also said, let's change the word to ask the community to be resilient. You know, so we said community
so it's just the semantics
should
of
be
it.
Resilient. Okay, but in the face of the opportunities we have, what are the opportunities we have? Look at the kindergarten area. The children. I used to be in Boy Scouts. There is Boy Scout, there is Girls Guide, Girls Brigade, Man o' War. Those things existed.
Exactly.
As you are growing up, these are relationships with agencies that children grow in their mind. It gives you the confidence to say, I own my space. I was in uniform as a child, you know. And those were one of the things that made me to join the army, because I was in a Boy Scout. You know, on all other situations, you see them coming to do training for you once in a while. You connect to a uniform person as a child growing up. Boy Scout, Girls Brigade, all those things have died. It's no more pride to be a scout. It's now a pride to be in cults. In schools, as a growing up kindergarten, you get to adolescent, you get into university, you are not interested anymore to be in the school program that is against cultism. You are just there to read your book. They should not even call me, because you don't want, you are scared, because the school cannot intimidate the armies of cultists that is growing in their space. Now, if you look at the agencies itself, okay, we used to have PCROC, very effective. Some people are even proud they will put the banner in their car that I'm a member of PCROC. That means if you see anything and you want to say anything, but you don't trust who to say it to, come and say it to me. So these were police representatives in the society that you could walk up to, uncle or daddy or my guy. There's something I saw at that place. So if you now go meeting again, you know, those kind of, there was relative cohesion, collaboration, and all that. We go to the police station to have meetings from your community. It says PCROC. You see that they don't have a good generator. You see that, oh, you need to support them in this. So the people began to support the police. Then, even then, when police want to collect bribe or something from a car, somebody parks his car and say, hello, officer, what's the problem? And the guy feels like, hey, all eyes on me. You know, but what happened to it? What happened to the community going to the police? What happened to the police coming to the community, attending estate meetings, attending street meetings, you know, village square meetings? So what happened? You know, then you see the last area I want to touch for that resilience and cohesion you were talking about. What happened to the veteran community? I retired from the Nigerian army. I've been living in different spaces till date since I retired. And the government have my database. They have my phone number, right? So what stops the government to say, okay, you are in XYZ area? You remember when there was issue at Arepo, this oil bunkering and all that? I went there with some guys, and we discovered that it was possible to have veterans in that area generate intelligence, and that was what we started to do. So if we don't utilize the juvenile age, the adolescent children, we don't utilize cohesion, collaboration with the police in all the meetings, we don't utilize the veteran community, DSS, police, military, retirees, who are in different places, different fora, different transactions, you cannot utilize them. You are not ready.
Wow. Okay. This is a whole lot of another discussion when it comes to utilizing retired veterans who have all the experience, and then the formality of, okay, you're no longer in the service, but you've been trained, you have experience, you have a network, you have the brains, you have the intelligence. What do we do with all of those? But it's all right. It's food for thought in 2022. Thank you so much, Roy Hideve, for coming on the program.
It's a pleasure.
Really appreciate you every time.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.